This week's podcast is called And Breathe, and I'll explain more. Welcome to the Mindfuckery podcast, which is FeedSpot's fifth must-listen-to podcast on emotional abuse. I'm your host, Elizabeth, and in here we explore areas others are feared to tread. Through my own personal journey, I know how much this hurts and how confusing life becomes. So many questions, no closure, and no real answers. I've been a woundologist for over 20 years. I'm the unintentional author of Finding Lily, the A to Z of emotional abuse and divorce matters. I help you clear past life wounds, ancestral trauma, and this life wounding. And as the founder of the Inner Healing Sanctuary, I've created Wound Talking, The Original Wound, and Quantum Glow. I'm on a mission to help educate as many people as I can on the effects of trauma on our lives and our children's lives, and healing the wounds of our mothers and our fathers. It stops here, it stops now, it stops with us. So welcome along for the journey of a lifetime. This week I'm talking about breathing. Something we do naturally, something we do to survive, but we can actually turn this into more of a survival mechanism, technique, tool. Leading up to Christmas, there might be pressures of spending time with people you don't want to spend time with. It might be that you're working with these people, so you've now actually got a break from them. As said, you might be spending more time with people at home. You might be going to visit people that you're not that happy with seeing, or you don't want to spend that much time with. And what happens is that everything gets stored in the body. Our nervous system then goes on alert. It might be that you can feel it in your shoulders. It might be that you can feel it in your neck. You can feel the tension in your body. And one way of dealing with that is breathing. And I've got lots of videos on YouTube on that subject. I used to do an exercise, and again, all of them are resetting the nervous system, resetting the vagus nerve. And I did a podcast about this a few weeks ago. Last week I was asking the question, are you taking the red pill or are you taking the blue pill? Either way, whichever route you decide to go down, your body is storing and holding on to trauma, emotions, memories. I talk about the original wound. I'll try and link as many as I can that I describe on the with the podcast that I have recorded about this. The original wound is where it all started. It's the original event. There might be multiple original events depending on what was happening in your childhood. I describe it as a verruca. If you don't get everything out, that virus, like the verruca virus, the wound sits and it lays dormant until it's triggered again. The same with the verruca virus. If you do not get the root of that virus out, and it is literally a root, it lays dormant until the right environment allows it to grow. And this is the same with the wounds. They sit there, they lay dormant until one person turns up in your life, or maybe a situation with many people, and it triggers that wound again. It might be that you revert back to behaving and responding in a childish manner, possibly at the age that you were when you got the wound. It's always worth checking in how old you are when these situations happen. I'm just publishing a book called The Balanced Journey. It's sat now, ready, I think, for me to press the button to send it to the publishing house and for them to assess it and come back and it go live. I just need to go through and check a few things, but with that has brought me a lot of stress. It's brought me bring up a lot of emotions, and I have also got lots of different things, lots of different pulls from family members at the moment with lots of sickness, and I can feel the tension in my shoulders. We're now leading up to a week before Christmas. Christmas Day, I think, is a week today. I'm recording this on the Wednesday the 18th, and I can feel the tension. I can feel the stress in my body. I'm wondering whether you can. So I initially started when I was teaching using lots of different techniques, but I used to teach a breathing technique, and you'd count in. So it would be a relaxation technique. We'd be going into meditation. It would be possibly when I was teaching Reiki. I'm trying to think what else I would when I was using it. You'd breathe in. So I'm going to do this with you because I could benefit from it today as well. And we're going to breathe in, and we're going to breathe into the count of 6, and then we're going to hold for a moment, and then we're going to breathe out, but we're going to breathe out on a longer breath. I managed to get about 12. I don't know what you did. Can you feel the stress leaving your body? Find techniques that work for you. Other one that I teach is a box breathing. Again, I'll link this one as well. You breathe in a box, pick a number. I use 6, so I breathe in for 6. I hold my breath for 6. I breathe out for 6, hold my breath for 6, and then we start again, breathing in. Again, this is resetting all of the nervous system. It isn't removing the trauma, it isn't removing what's going on in your life, but it's pausing, it's pushing back for a moment. And like everything I do, you can do these in the supermarket queue, you can go into the toilet at work. One of my favourite ones was Amy Cubby's Superman pose. And when I was working in a call centre. It was a stressful environment, but on top of that, my marriage was breaking down. There was weird things happening that didn't make sense. I was on hyper alert and I was overreacting in situations. And I remember one of my managers saying something to me and I just span out and I started crying and I went to the toilet and I did the Amy Cubby Superman pose. I was able to compose myself. I just felt I was being attacked on every level. It was at work, it was at home. I just couldn't get a break. And it's like, and breathe. And you might have got similar experiences. You might be pushing and keeping so many different people at arm's length. You might be trying to control so many different things. You might be in a position that you're getting anxious about meeting up with people, about seeing family and friends. And if you've been through and experienced an emotionally abusive relationship, you know how it changes you. And it's different for everyone, but it's also the same. It changes every single person. It changes the way they see and view the world. It changes the way they trust. You listen. You're hypervigilant. And that is for energy. The change in atmosphere. It can be words that are being said or not being said. It changes everything about you and every single relationship. And some might become stronger and others will drift away. There's so many questions that are unanswered and your brain is on overtime. Somebody might say something and leave a bit of information out and it doesn't make sense. And then you process it. And again, this is the whole system is on overdrive. It's like a steam train that's being filled with coal or whatever they do to get the heat. And the pistons are like fully charging round. That's what your body is like. It's on charge all the time. So taking that moment and breathe, to calm everything down, to be in the body, to be grounded, to take a moment. As I said, at the supermarket, you can stand there in the queue waiting to pay for your shopping. Visualize roots coming out of the bottom of your feet and going into the ground, into the earth, feeling stable, being in your body. The power of breath, the power of grounding should never be underestimated. Taking a moment or two. Meditation does not have to be sat on the top of a mountain, omming for hours on end. Grasp every little opportunity you've got, sat in a queue of traffic, and breathe. You could breathe in for 6 and out for 12. You could breathe in for 6, hold for 6, out for 6, hold for 6. There are so many different breathing techniques, and it just might be a reminder that you've got a better one than I can offer you. And if you do, please comment so we can just share out the love, the peace, because that's what we want. And Christmas is supposed to be about peace on earth. And yet everything that's going on at the moment, you might not feel peaceful. You might be alone at Christmas, sharing the responsibility of children, splitting the time that they spend with you and the time that they spend with their other parent. That can be stressful in itself, particularly if they are going to an emotionally abusive partner, and you might notice a change when they come back. They might behave differently. They might be more aggressive towards you. They might be more verbal towards you. They might be angry. See if you can find activities. This is one thing that I started to notice. It took me a long time to see this pattern with my family. See if you can find activities initially to allow them to process. And I think one of those can be something like colouring, just sitting at the kitchen table or the dining room table or on the floor in the lounge with some paper and some colouring pens, and allowing them to process through colouring pencils or fiver tip pens. Maybe they can draw their own emotions out without knowing that that's what they're actually doing, but giving them that time and space. Maybe creating an activity that you come together, like making a meal or setting the table, preparing something, and creating something that becomes a routine to help them reintegrate back into your family unit, help them process emotions that they might not understand themselves, feelings that they might not understand themselves, and creating that environment that's safe for them now. As I was just flicking through before I started to record, flicking through Instagram because I'm trying to get hold of a company that I've placed an order, and I saw something and it was like, why are children perhaps better well behaved with the other parent than they are with you? And that's safety. They behave because of fear. They can't be themselves. They come back and they've now got emotions that they need to process. And we're not psychologists, psychiatrists, although it feels like you come out the other end with those qualifications, but you can put in place things like you can breathe for yourself. You can offer children an activity that will help them process in a way that they are helping themselves without realizing that's what they're doing. So breathe. That's what I'm going to do. I'm now going to spend a few moments breathing for myself. As I said, I'm in the process. I'm just about to put it through to the publishing house. It's called The Balance Journey. And what I've done is, it was a book. Well, actually, it wasn't a book. It was lots of different techniques that I used during my healing journey to create calm out of chaos. And there's lots of things like I use the Bagua map. I don't know whether anyone is aware of the Feng Shui system, where you overlay on your house different areas. It's mapped out. So different parts of your house represent different parts of your life. And it might be you've got a money corner and it's cluttered, and you might have a health corner that's got lots of broken things in it, and you've got knowledge and travel, I think it is, in another corner, and that's where the toilet is that's bunged up and broken. But what I've done is I've used the titles, and I use it as goal setting. What do I want to do in that area? So in health, what do I want to do? I want to get fit. I want to, by my birthday in April, I want to have a really good fitness level, one that I haven't had for a long time. What else have I got? Money is a good one, and a new home, and lots of different things. Quite happy with my car, so every time I look at it, I know it's a bit grubby at the moment, but I still go, oh my God, you're so beautiful. So it's having that joy and knowing that's what that means to me. When something starts to feel off, then you know that maybe you need to move. So I've got that written in there. I've got a goal bingo in there, and it's also a planner and a diary. It helps me so much, and it still does, helps me so much with keeping focus on where I am, what I'm doing. And part of that recovery was I couldn't remember anything. I suffered adrenal fatigue really badly, where I was falling asleep during the afternoon, and then I'd get home from work, I'd sit down on the sofa, I could hardly keep my eyes open. About 10 o'clock at night, I'd go to bed, and then ping, I was not able to sleep. And then I must have fallen asleep at some point, and I slept through my alarm. I needed to be out the house at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was just waking up. So it really helped me work through that. It helped me with my body, helped me take control of the chaos. And so what I've done is all these different things that I used over the years, I've now pulled together and I've put into this diary planner. I'll put the link in the description as soon as it's available, and it's using lots of different ancient techniques because I love that spirituality. It's ingrained in my DNA. I think we can learn such a lot from these practices. So take a moment with me and breathe. I'm going to leave the music playing for a little bit longer this week, but as always, I'm sending you loads and loads of love. And breathe.